My name is Deltan Kongko. I am 63 years old, proudly 63. 4 years ago, I retired as an employee of the country's biggest pharmaceutical company after 40 years of service. And I am now a full-time wife to a lawyer, banker, and pastor, and mother to 3 grown-up children and a brand new son-in-law. I stand here before you to share my testimony as my husband's Ezer Kenegdo, or ministry partner, not because I am good at it. I'm still learning. I am here to share the challenges and the lessons I have learned over the years and how, by the grace of God, I am able to overcome and continue with the role that God has given me. However, this testimony is not about me, but about God and how His grace is transforming me into the kind of wife and partner that He wants me to be, so I can be the best Priscilla to my Aquila. My husband is a highly functional person. He is a senior executive in the country's leading commercial bank, where he is handling a highly sensitive, very demanding, and stressful job. He is also actively involved in several ministries. He sits in the board of Far East Broadcasting Company, or FEBC, as well as Pamilya Muna Pilipinas, and is the chairman of World Teach Ministries. He is also a COS of CCF Feliz and a preaching pastor, and leads 3 Bible studies every other Saturday among BDO executives and officers, Security Bank, HSBC, Grace Gospel, and a group of couples who are also leaders in their respective churches. Providing support and assistance to him is very challenging for me. It requires a lot of patience and understanding. His tight and fast-paced schedule can be stressful and at times annoying because I not only have to adjust to it, but I had to accept it and learn to live with it. Because that is what we promised to each other and to the Lord even before we got married, that we will serve the Lord together. We've been married for 36 years, and for the most part of it, my husband has always been involved in at least 1 or 2 ministries. Ganun siya kasipag. During the early part of our marriage, when the children were still very young and my involvement in ministry was very minimal, almost non-existent, as I got caught up with work, with caring for the children and homemaking. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. Of course, I did try to be a good ministry partner, but our circumstances back then did not allow me. It made it difficult for me. My support as a ministry partner came in the form of me allowing him enough room and time to do ministry on the condition that I will not be obligated to be there 100%. My mindset then was, it's his ministry, not mine. I did not realize that my attitude as a wife and partner was totally wrong and very disrespectful to my husband, and that I was actually obeying and dishonoring the Lord, as I was clearly defying God's command in Ephesians, which is to honor my husband by submitting to his authority and being a helpmate to him. I was actually sinning against God. Because of this, I was bitter, unhappy, and most of all, I felt so alone and unfulfilled because I was not following or obeying God's will and purpose for me as a wife. It took quite a while before I finally came to my senses. But praise God, I am now slowly getting to where I should be in the first place, by my husband's side, serving and obeying God's plan and purpose for us. I am still a work in progress, but I have come to realize that regardless of how I feel, whether the situation is bad or ideal, I should serve God by submitting to His will, which is to support and assist my husband in the ministry that He has ordained him to do. I finally understood that His calling is my calling. So how do I do it, and what are the lessons that I have learned as I live my life as a Priscilla to my Aquila? On faithfulness, I learned to trust God as the author and finisher of our faith, knowing that He has full control of my life, and that everything that happens in my life has a purpose. It was our faith and commitment to God that brought me and my husband together 42 years ago when we both answered the call to help a young pastor and his wife start a Bible study in Makati. That Bible study group eventually became a Bible-believing church. On hospitality, I have learned that opening my life by sharing my experiences, whether good or bad, happy or sad, and welcoming people to our home will always have a huge impact in the life of others as well as ours. One of our life's biggest influencers in the area of hospitality were Dad Maynard Eystone and Shirley Eystone. They were American missionaries who became foster parents to my husband when he was still in law school. They modeled to us what true hospitality is all about. There are days when their living room would look like a hospital ward because they have 2 or 3 families, pastors, missionaries, young people, staying with them, and they just divide the room with blankets to accommodate as many people as possible. Their example led us to make our home available for Bible studies. In fact, the Bankers for Jesus Bible Study, now known as B4J, composed of almost 200 BDO executives and officers who meet every Saturday, was launched in our home. It also became a hangout place for our friends and our children's friends, and a refuge for families and couples who are going through tough times in their marriages. On discipleship, I have learned that I need to engage and invest time and sometimes even resources in the people that God brought into our lives. Back in the early 90s, when D group was not that much of a thing yet, God blessed us with a group led by Russell and Ramona Simons, whose parents were church planters and pioneers of Faith Academy. They taught us what life on life means and the importance of authenticity and honesty. At work, I had a small D group of 5 ladies who are very close to my heart. I love them dearly, and our relationship is at the level that we can call each other anytime, anywhere, whatever the circumstance is, even enabling one of them to get out of her financial problems by confiscating all her credit cards and helping her pay off her debts over a period of time. Now, she is debt-free and is able to enjoy God's blessings. She is now leading a Bible study in her workplace and is part of a group where no less than the company's president attends. In 2014, we started the Amici group composed of four power couples in Makati. The husbands were all top executives of different companies. We did Bible studies, marriage counseling, and other life-on-life activities, which brought us closer to each other and to God. These couples continue to be actively involved in their respective churches and their ministries to this day. We are also ministering to young couples whose passion is to serve God. Among them is Stephen and Seska Asi of CCF Eastwood. This couple has been with us for almost a decade now, and I remember them coming over to our house at 5:30 in the morning for our Saturday Bible study. Their faithfulness and commitment to God's work is truly unequivocal. Presently, we have our D group in CCF Feliz led by Mother Sasa and Pastor Roy Felipe. These couples and ladies are just as special and have contributed a lot to our personal growth as a Christian couple. Lastly, on boldness, I praise God for giving me the courage and the boldness to do things beyond my capabilities. By His grace, I became the first woman chairman of our company's version of labor union, where I was able to demonstrate what good governance is all about by insisting on doing what is moral and right and fighting for what is true, just, and fair for both the employees and the company as taught by the Bible. God also gave me the boldness to start a new company, a travel agency, despite the many limitations and hurdles that came along the way. This travel agency still exists today and operates after more than 20 years. I honestly believe that if I did not trust God and obeyed Him, if I continued to refuse to see that my husband's calling is also my calling, I would have continued to live an unfulfilled life. Truly, teaching, learning, and working as a team creates a huge impact, not only in the lives of others, but also in our life as a couple. And all of this is only by God's grace. Let me end my testimony with one of our favorite life verses, Galatians 2:20. If you know it, you can recite it with me. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who lives, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself for me. All honor and glory to Him. Magandang umaga ulit.